The folklore in Kid Cryptid wouldn't exist if it weren't for the rich history and vibrant cultures these stories come from. While we do our best to provide accurate information, we recognize that we are, at best, amateurs here. This podcast is best considered for entertainment purposes only, and it comes from a place of love and respect for the peoples behind the lore. Now, on with the show. Shawn here, bringing you the first installment of our second mini-episode type. Where Elias brings you the Campfire Critters, I'll be doing the Campfire Compendium. What exactly is that? Glad you asked. This series will deal more in urban legends and unsolved mysteries. While still keeping with the Kid Cryptid's overall family-friendly idea, the stories here may be a bit darker than in a regular episode. Other than that, it may just be better for me to show you rather than try to explain. It's almost a rite of passage, a ritual kids perform to test one another. Standing alone in a darkened room, maybe with a candle, they look into a mirror and utter a simple name. Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary. So who exactly is Bloody Mary? We all seem to know her name, and that you get her attention by calling to her in front of a mirror. The stories vary a bit on what happens once she's summoned. At best, she'll merely appear in the mirror holding a dead baby. At worst, she bursts from the glass and attacks you. Her origins, however, are a little bit murkier and a bit dark. One popular theory suggests that Mary Tudor is the true Bloody Mary. Upon assuming the English throne in 1553, she set about re-establishing Catholicism as the national religion. In her fervor, she had over 280 Protestants and dissenters put to death by burning at the stake. Her enemies gave her the name Bloody Mary as a result of her cruelty, and she was greatly vilified in Protestant literature. Mary also desperately wished for a child, though never gave birth. The sad figure holding a baby within the mirror seems to reinforce this link. A second possible inspiration comes from Hungary. Elizabeth Bathory is one of history's true monsters. Born in 1560, she was a noblewoman who developed an unhealthy obsession with maintaining her youth. She was known to be abusive towards her servants, but what she managed to keep secret for years was just how far she took things. See, according to stories about her, Elizabeth took pleasure in torturing, killing, and bathing in the blood of the young girls she hired from surrounding villages. She was arrested, but her nobility saved her from execution. Instead, she languished in solitary confinement in a windowless room for 4 years until she died. Time has called the stories of bloodbathing into question, but the legend of her murderous ways remain, and quite possibly they shaped the Bloody Mary ritual of today. The final theory I'm going to talk about is probably the strangest. It involves a woman named Mary Worth, who, as the story goes, was a witch who was hanged in Salem during the infamous witch trials. Mary, of course, was not only innocent, but also with child when she died. The strange thing about all of this, however, is that Mary Worth never existed. No records anywhere mention the execution of a woman with that name. Yet, the legend exists. If you look up Bloody Mary on the internet, Mary Worth will make an appearance at some point. So where did it come from? Well, there was a Mary Eastery that was tried and executed as a witch in Salem. It's possible that the name shifted through retellings over time and distance. But it is interesting that a legend of a witch could have spawned a whole separate legend of the angry spirit of a woman waiting to be summoned through a mirror. So there you have it. The truth. Or at least something like it for you to think about, as you stand before the mirror and say her name. Until next time.